It's time once again to take a look at the Yodobashi Top 10 to see who's making waves in the camera world. I am going to rush through this video as after I'm finished recording, I'm out to a frozen lake to do some ice fishing and test the new 50mm f1.4 VCM. But first, I have a rather simple yet humble request. Please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps this channel grow, and it keeps you informed on the latest camera gear. Yodobashi is the fourth largest Japanese retailer of electronics, computers, cameras, and other photographic equipment. They publish their sales figures every 2 weeks like clockwork, giving us something to talk about in an otherwise slow news cycle. So why not cover B&H, AtomX, or other major camera retailers? Well, for a very simple reason. Those guys don't publish their sales data. Well, certainly not on a regular basis, maybe every year or two, but that's it. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to hear that the Canon EOS R5, the Mark II, is in the #1 spot, the pole position if you were. It's not really a surprise for many reasons. Number one, well, when it comes to Canon's 5 series, it's, well, one of the most popular pro-level cameras. It appeals to everybody. Even those that can't afford it can look at it and say, yeah, I get this camera. I'd really love to have it. Whereas the Canon EOS R1, their flagship mirrorless camera, many people can look at that camera and say, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Others do, but the 5 series is just always been a very, very successful camera, and the R5, the first mirrorless version, broke sales figures for about 6 to 18 months. And the R5 Mark II, well, I gotta tell you, especially for a video shooter, it's definitely a wow camera. So I'm certainly not surprised to see it in first place. But in second place, this is a bit of a surprise. It might not be a surprise to you if you own the Fujifilm the XM5 with the XC 15 to 45mm f3.5 to 5.6 is affordable, it's stylish. It's an APS-C camera that allows us to travel light. In third place, we have the Sony a7C II, a follow-up to the a7C. It was released along with the a7CR. And in fourth place, we also have the a7C II, but this SKU is a kit form with a zoom lens. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, wait a minute, Simon. If we've got the a7C II in third and the a7C in fourth, who cares if it's a kit? Doesn't that make it at least in #2? Or could that topple Canon in first place with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II? Well, it's possible, but unfortunately, Yodobashi doesn't release the numbers for each ranking, so I can't add them together, but this is just how Yodobashi does it. So the a7C in third and the a7C kit with a zoom lens in fourth. While announced on July the 17th, the Canon EOS R1 really didn't start shipping until mid-November, but it's continuing those strong sales numbers into fifth position ahead of the recently announced Sony Alpha 1 Mark II, which lands in seventh place. It looks like that limited 24 megapixels that so many derided in the Canon EOS R1 isn't doing so badly against the much higher resolution 50 megapixels on the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II. Now going back up to sixth place, we have the Nikon Z50 Mark II in a zoom kit. It currently sells for around $900 and is an APS-C camera with a 20 megapixel sensor. And despite the Canon EOS R6 Mark II being on the market for a good solid 2 years, it's still holding off well in the top 10 in position 8. And actually, it's the only camera currently on sale for $19.99. That's $500 off its regular price. And despite what we had heard from Canon rumors, we didn't get a further discount in December. But we are supposed to be getting the Canon EOS R6 Mark III announced sometime in Q1, and oh, my watch isn't on, but trust me, we're in January, so that's the first of 3 months. Will we get the announcement this month? Perhaps next month? Or maybe even in March? Well, we haven't heard any sort of solid information indicating any other validation of specifications or any other information. It's beginning to sound a little bit quiet. I would have thought that around CP Plus we might get something, but if we're not starting to hear any information and we're starting to enter the third week of January, it's highly possible that the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, maybe, just maybe, it could get pushed into Q2. The Nikon ZFC continues to make an appearance in the top 10 from time to time, landing itself in 9th place with a 16 to 50mm VR lens. And another camera that's been in the marketplace for a very long time, I think, what, 3 years now? And that's the Sony a7 IV, rounds out 10th place. So we have 3 Canons, 3 Sonys. We do have the a7C in 2 places, so if you want to go ahead and count Sony an extra, make it 4, yes, then Sony beats out Canon. But Canon does take that coveted spot with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II in 1st place. I do want to talk just about the R5 Mark II for a few moments, and actually more about the 50mm f1.4 L-series image stabilized VCM lens. I've been shooting with it since the middle of December, and I gotta say, I'm shocked by this lens. I'm going to be putting out a video reviewing this lens later this week. I'm not exactly sure when because I'm still scripting it. I'm still getting it together. But you're going to want to watch this video because I was completely surprised. My expectations of this lens and what it delivered, it far exceeded my expectations. And it's not any one thing, but there's several capabilities together that make it an incredible lens. I'm currently shooting with a 50mm f1.2. And there was one time where I was out shooting and I thought I'd put the 50mm f1.4 on here, but I had the 1.2 on. It wasn't until I got out there in the field, put my glasses on, because I heard something. I thought the autofocus system, you know, with my eye up to the EVF, it's not as silent as I thought it was. So I put my glasses on, I took a look, and, well, I didn't need to put my glasses on. I could tell by just the feel that I was shooting with a 50mm f1.2. And you know what? Guess what my immediate reaction was? Sorry, I got a little bit of an itch there. Guess what my reaction was? Disappointment. I had the 50mm f1.2, the RF 50mm f1.2 on the R5 Mark II, and I was disappointed. Now you might be thinking, okay, you're disappointed because you were planning on reviewing the 1.4. You wanted to have that in the field with you, right? Partially. But I was disappointed because I knew the way I had mic'd it up that I couldn't use the audio track. I'm excited by this lens, and in this review video coming up, I'm going to tell you why. And obviously the big question you might be wondering is it worth saving up for the 50mm f1.2? Or should you get the 50mm f1.4 VCM? Yes and yes. It really depends on what scenarios you're shooting in. The 50mm f1.2 still has incredible sharpness, and I'm going to talk about this in the video. But there's other scenarios where the 50mm f1.4 VCM is going to be my top recommendation. I'm not going to give everything away right now, but just suffice it to say that I'm keeping both lenses. I bought both lenses. The 50mm f1.2 is my lens for Studio A setup. I want to keep it on this camera all the time. But for run and gun stuff, I mean, it's certainly light, it's great for travel. I'm probably going to shoot with a 50mm f1.4. What do you think? Do you actually have the 50mm f1.2, the f1.4? Or what about the old EF versions? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But I want to say a big thanks to everybody for tuning in, and a big thanks to all of you that over the past year or two have supported me by purchasing through my affiliate links. All those links down in the description down below. I still have about 20 cameras in the links. I know Sony doesn't have any sales on, but both Nikon and Canon have a whole bunch of sales on both lenses and cameras. And as I said, Black Friday through Christmas was the best time to buy. We saw the best deals, but we're still seeing some really good deals on, like the R6 Mark II, $500 off, the best price we've ever seen. And it's been solid at $500 off for what? Going on 3 to 5 months now? Thank you, because quite literally, you're helping keep the lights on. I get anywhere from 2 to 5% back from every purchase, and I couldn't do this without you. I do very much appreciate your support. But that's it for now. It's time for me to get out and do some ice fishing. And if you actually, maybe, well, you know what? I'll include some B-roll in this video. I don't really care if I catch any fish. What I really want to catch, though, is some great footage, because the main purpose of going out there is shooting the 50mm f1.4 with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II in temperatures that are supposed to be, I think when I checked forecasting, to a high around -4, but we're going out really early. The sun's barely up, and I think the temperature is going to be around -7 or -8. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll see you again soon.